On the River Valley coming in from the north. I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Matt Standers. This is what it looks like outside in Bentonville, just south of the home office. We've had a lot of extra clouds today, just kind of exhaust from other thunderstorms in Oklahoma. But now the storms are getting closer, so you're seeing a much more complicated sky. It's not just cloudy anymore. You're watching a couple rings of these thunderstorms starting to push on to the south and east, getting closer to Bentonville. You're looking out way west toward Decatur and Gentry, and then out west towards Lake Windsor, parts of Bella Vista. This is kind of the leading edge of these storms as they push on in. This sky's going to get a little bit darker as it approaches Bentonville. We're watching this cell come in. This is a live look at the Bentonville Square. Right now, not a lot going on. Definitely getting cloudier. You're watching some lower clouds starting to approach from the northwest sky as well. And this is a live look in Springdale. In fact, you start to see the edge of the shelf cloud with this cell that's coming into Benton County when you kind of take a step back. But there's our storm. Let's go ahead and track it for you right now on radar. We're watching kind of a disorganized mess of isolated storms across northeast Oklahoma, now coming in northwest Arkansas, a couple more over the Ozarks, deep in the Ozarks in Missouri. Essentially, over the next few hours, we're going to be watching these cells develop, not one nasty line, but individual cells, and they're going to be pressing south and east. And so we've got a chance for more storms later this evening if they're able to hold. But right now it's these two storms that we're watching coming into northwest Arkansas and eventually the River Valley. Two severe thunderstorm warnings. The first one that we're watching right now is coming into Benton County. The other one is right over Tahlequah, coming over Cherokee County, headed south and east eventually to Sequoia County. This one's been weakening a little bit over time. It looks like a lot of lightning on the back side. The front side is starting to collapse a little bit, maybe reorganizing, maybe recycling. We'll have to see. If we get a bigger push here on the back side, that may help strengthen the storm and eventually give it time to blow some wind and hail into parts of Sequoia County. But let's start with this storm because it's approaching us the first. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. By the way, we've been getting all our platforms ready as we track some storms for you. Not everyone's going to get a storm this evening. They're going to be kind of few and far between, but the ones that you get hit by, some of them can be pretty intense at times. So that's what we're going to be watching for the next couple of hours. So it's already been kind of cloudy because we've been watching the exhaust from some of these thunderstorms the past few hours, but now they're finally approaching. So finalizing some of our stream. These storms are moving about 45 miles per hour to the south and east. So just a quick track on the one coming into the Bentonville-Rogers area. You see the time, downtown Bentonville, 2:13. I'm going to move this back just a little bit. Get a bit of a better timing. All right, see how I didn't quite draw that perfectly. So I'm going to pause this and kind of draw it right around the cell itself. Heifel, there by X and A, about 220 or so, give or take. Bentonville, just around 230, a little bit after 230 in Rogers, you see that 236. And if it can hold and come into the Fayetteville area, it might be 240. So another 30 minutes from now as this storm comes in. All right, I think we got everything now. Okay, so let's take a look at this cell. Let's dive in. I want to show you what it looks like with hail itself. So I'm going to do, there we go. There you see that hail core populating, just coming into extreme northwest Arkansas. Here's the state line, here's Missouri, here's Oklahoma. So Benton County right here, just now coming in. This hail core is coming right towards, it looks like the kind of the Sulphur Springs and Gravette area. Gravette, we're about to get hit by some hail. This, the kind of the whiter color shows you about quarter-sized hail, and maybe even getting a little bit larger in that blue color. We're noticing maybe a slight weakening trend. You see how it was a little bit darker, more intense, just north and west of Noel. This hail core is dropping south right towards X&A and Centerton. So when you time this out, keeping generally the same path, this may wobble a little bit, we'll adjust as needed. Gravette coming in right now, Crystal Lake 216, X&A 230. We'll be watching some hail come right towards the airport here shortly. Shadow Valley complex there with the golf course 235, and then getting kind of clipping the Pinnacle Hills area right there at that exit, the Whitaker Parkway exit, 237. So here in just over 20 minutes or so, if this holds, we're going to get some hail. But it looks like the hail core may be able to stay just south and west of downtown Bentonville and downtown Rogers If it holds, this may come more towards the Springdale area. You see, this would be about Highway 412 right in here, headed west to Palm Springs. So Taneytown, Springdale, Elm Springs, we're going to watch for this cell come in anywhere from about the Highway 264 exit, Monroe Avenue exit. You head south towards Wagon Wheel. We're going to be watching this cell come in here shortly. But right now it's still off towards the north and west, coming in first to Gravette and Decatur. Let's take a close look at that cell in Oklahoma. We'll take a look at its hail track. This hail track's been weakening quite a bit near the Fort Gibson area. See Wagner, okay, Oklahoma. Maybe not so okay after a little hail hits us. That's the cell we're watching that would come towards Sequoyah County, but a lot of weakening on this. I think it's recycling. If it can complete its recycle, it'll become a little bit nastier as it goes towards Lake Tenkiller. Here's Lake Tenkiller. You got the southern end. Here's the dam. You head north towards Cookson. This cell's coming towards us and eventually could come into Sequoyah County. If it's not able to completely finish its cycle, we have a lot of clouds overhead, so that's kind of impacting the storm. If it can't recycle, we're just going to be watching some heavy rain come towards Sequoyah County, but we're actively watching and observing it right now. I want to show you the velocity, show you some winds on these storms as they approach. It looks like the southern storm, here coming to Tahlequah, has more of a wind threat with it, not as much of a hail. We've seen some hail where you have the lightning, but here's this pocket of wind, up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, coming right over Cherokee County. You see Fort Gibson, Highway 62, coming over Highway 62, headed right towards Paradise Hill, Redbird Smith, Evening Shade. Sequoyah County, it's going to get to be breezy here in a little bit. Even if this storm collapses, we're probably going to get some outflow wind out of this, kind of cooling you down a little bit, even though temperatures have been just a little bit cooler because of those extra clouds coming in. But you're going to be watching some wind head towards Gore, Vian, Weber's Falls. Most of Sequoyah County could get some wind as this storm collapses and moves east and south. But we'll see if it can cycle. This is a look at the storm in northwest Arkansas for Benton County. The winds are a bit tougher by the angle that it's approaching and its angle with the radar, so the radar's having a hard time completely estimating it. But we're still going to be watching that wind, generally this core of wind, come into Decatur and grab it. The wind is over the state line right now. You also see some of that lightning that coordinates with the hail too. But this whole pocket of wind and hail headed towards X and A. This is where the warning gets cut off. The warning itself looks like we just barely avoid downtown Bentonville. Downtown, about right here, you got Crystal Bridges, but as soon as you go west, as soon as you head west, past some of the Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve, Kohler were included. You go west Centerville, Centerton, right at Centerton West, Bentonville West High School. That warning includes you guys. And you go south on Vaughn Road towards Healing Springs and X&A. We're also included in this warning. Back west to Springtown and Gentry were included too. Palm Springs were just barely out of it unless you live on the extreme north side. There up and down Mount Olive Street once you get a little bit outside downtown going north. So that's what we're watching. Let me take you back to a wide view. We're going to be watching more cells develop on and off throughout this afternoon and evening. We're not going to watch a massive line that just hits everyone. This is going to be kind of more sporadic. There's going to be some of us that don't really get any rain today. It's just these two storms right now. A couple more cells on the backside. We've rained some here in the trajectory of these cells, so we'll see how that interacts. We'll see if these can get some extra energy. Maybe that southwest wind coming in can feed them, even though we've got a lot of clouds and some fresh rainfall in its path. So we'll watch that storm, because eventually that would also try to come towards generally the River Valley. This storm, still a lot of lightning in it. Definitely has more lightning than the Bentonville storm. So this may be recycling. This may be able to come on through, come right towards Sequoyah County just fine. We'll see if we get a new warning here. National Weather Service trimmed the warning on the Benton County storm on its northwest side, because the storm's pretty much now mostly in Arkansas. Just the outer fringes are in Oklahoma and in Missouri left over, but this storm is mainly now in Benton County. Got a couple more storms to watch this afternoon. The Ozarks, we're watching that heat and humidity, blow up some thunderstorms, hit or miss, some more hail and windstorms, trying to track towards the south and east. If they get a little bit more of that easterly trend, they're going to avoid us and come into north central Arkansas. But if we can get more cells in this area, you're seeing atmosphere trying to pop up a couple. We'll see if anything comes out of these. But these would be the ones to watch, kind of anywhere in this area, if that changes over time. All right, this is what it looks like outside in Bentonville. You're looking just south of the home office, and you're looking back to the northwest. Sky is getting a lot darker. But if we look at some of our other cameras, sometimes you get more perspective. This is downtown Bentonville. This is a great one to see when the storm actually hits. It's hard to see so much of the sky, but if you look, you're getting some low-hanging fruit here on some of these clouds. That's usually getting closer to the edge of the storm. I think the worst of the storm is going to be just west of downtown Bentonville, more towards Centerton, towards Bentonville West High School, rather so much than Bentonville High School and the square and the Walmart Museum and Crystal Bridges. But south and west of Walmart headquarters, we're going to be watching more of these storms coming in. And this is a live look in Springdale. We'll see. Kind of getting the edge of the storm right here. Not the prettiest storm. It's got a lot of extra clouds that it's running into because it's been kind of cloudy the past couple of hours. That's exhaust from storms across Oklahoma just throughout the day. A lot of storms in July put off a lot of exhaust because there's a lot of humidity to deal with. And so it just pumps it out and then just spreads out a cloud for miles and miles and miles. This cloud show's over 100 miles wide, but this storm is running into it. Doesn't really like it, but you're noticing those low clouds right now come into parts of northwestern Benton County. And then you see the rain off towards the west and northwest. Lots of sheets of rain coming down with this storm. So you get a little bit more perspective from the Springdale iCam rather than being right there in downtown Bentonville. And this is a live look in from south of home office. You're looking back off towards the west. We can't quite look north. There's more building kind of blocking that view. But we're going to be watching the storm get a little bit closer. You see a couple striations in the cloud right now. It's a pretty healthy storm. Let's take a closer look on radar. Take a closer look on the on the velocity. Not really seeing rotation on this storm right now. Just pretty much a good hail and wind core. Here's a closer look at that hail core. It is weakened quite a bit too. Look at that. That's good news. So this shows you the path of the hail and then also the latest scan of the hail. So this is our latest scan. That's what we just got, those gray colors. So about penny-sized hail. That penny-sized hail is still tracking towards Decatur. Here's X and A. So that's good news for the airplanes. Good news for Decatur, good news for Gravit. But boy, we picked up some decent hail there in Southwest City. You go just a little bit farther north and west. I'm going to take off the previous hail, so you might be able to see just the current scans now coming in. See, over time, it getting smaller and smaller. That's good news. Still severe thunderstorm warning. But right now, the cell may be weakening a little bit. You're looking at some general wind coming with this storm, maybe up to 60-mile-per-hour gusts. But it does look like this storm is weakening a little bit. That's some good news. We'll check our southern storm now. Also, when you're looking at the lightning, there was an uptick right around 2:15, so just about 8 minutes ago when we came on with you guys. Good uptick in the lightning, but the past scan or two, maybe slightly less lightning. We'll watch that. That's generally a sign of some weakening. Now back south. This storm is so interesting. Definitely shriveling up. Also got a couple of showers. Haven't really done much. This storm right here, this shower coming into Brushy, this one continues to weaken as it presses south, and this area is untouched other than some high-level clouds right now. But it's not doing so hot. We'll watch this one. There might just be a lot of electrification in the storm in general, but this one's also been weakening. Let me get you the estimated time on this warning. That one goes to 3. So let's talk about that southern track for this storm now. See, if this one keeps collapsing on its east side, this may avoid Sallisaw, at least the strong part of the storm. I'm really just tracking the big part of the storm. Then I'm going to track a little bit of a wider view and kind of see where everything's generally headed. But the stronger part of the storm, Paradise Hill 230, Warner 234, Vian 244, Stigler 259 there at 3 o'clock, McCurtain just a little bit after 3 o'clock. But the storm is definitely weakening. Now let's do kind of a wider view. General scattered showers and thunderstorms now. Moving that south and east. Oop. System glitched on us a little bit. There we go. So general scattered showers and thunderstorms, not necessarily the main core. Sallisaw here soon, here in about 10 minutes. You see that rain coming in from Brushy. Rolling to 43. We're kind of getting skimmed. Bacola would probably be skimmed too, but I think most of it will be back west of Bacola. And then this Poto storm, 313, Huebner, just about 3:30. So eventually this will cross over the Sequoia Wildlife National Refuge right here at the Kerr Reservoir and then dive south, but definitely weakening on this storm. You look at the hail core too, and then we'll just track the hail core as it comes into Sequoia County. You see all those previous scans, it was a lot stronger near Choteau, just south and west of Pryor Creek. But as the hail core moves, yeah, this thing's weakening too. There's still a lot of lightning in this storm, but this is definitely weakening over Fort Gibson. We're tracking a little bit of hail coming into Lake Tenkiller. Here's Lake Tenkiller right here. You got the south end towards Paradise Hill. You got Chicken Creek and Cookson. I think most of the hail probably head more towards the dam. You see Bragg's here. But that cell definitely weakening over Fort Gibson. Coming south and east towards Redbird Smith and Gore and Vian, but just a little bit of pea or penny sized hail. You go back on the hail core in Benton County. This one's also weakening. Both of them are weakening. That's some good news. You see that storm kind of shriveling up. Maybe a couple pieces of penny-sized hail. They're just north of the runway at X and A. You're looking back northwest towards Springtown and Decatur, west of Vaughn Road. There's that hail core coming in, just a couple scans of it. Take you back to a wide view. I'm going to check with the National Weather Service real quick on something. Once again, here's another wide view. We're going to talk about a couple counties. We're going to go quickly county by county because I know we haven't touched on everyone because not everyone's going to get a storm, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of a perspective. So we'll start from north, head to south real quick. Benton County, of course, we have an active severe thunderstorm warning. Hail core shriveling up there in the western part of the county, right up and down 59. You got Decatur, Gentry, Gravette, even X and A. X and A is now getting that heavy rain, but a little bit of hail back on the northwest side. We'll see if that continues to hold. But then the rest of Benton County, you head closer to Beaver Lake there, Prairie Creek and downtown Rogers, Garfield, Pea Ridge. We're avoiding this storm. If something weird happens where it moves east, then that would come in closer to us. But I think this is generally going to track just more towards the southeast, trying to mostly avoid Rogers. However, except Rogers on the south side, you know how Rogers kind of dips and goes southwest over the interstate near Cave Springs? Kind of Cave Springs, Pleasant Grove Road. We're getting some of that rain coming in shortly, kind of skimming the promenade. Salem Springs, we're going to get skimmed by this storm. A lot of it is a little bit worse to the north and west. Carroll County, not much right right now. We're clear. We're good for the next couple hours. Couple storms off towards the north and west. Madison County, we'll see if this holds. If it holds, it could try to skim parts of Hinesville and Huntsville, but then most of it will probably come more towards the mountains. If you live closer to the county line with Carroll County, you're probably going to be okay. Washington County, we're next if this storm holds. We have noticing weakening on it, but Fayetteville, Springdale, we would be next for sure. This is definitely going to come in and try to give us some rain. But then along Highway 62, Farmington, Prairie Grove, Lincoln, we could get skimmed by this storm here within the next 30, 45, probably closer to 45 minutes or so. It's not hauling, it's moving about 40 miles per hour to the southeast. Let's go move south to Crawford County. We're kind of wedged in between because if you track both storms south and east, they kind of avoid us. We could get skimmed by this one, especially in the mountains. If you live north of Mountainburg, close to Lake Fort Smith, maybe even Cedarville, Uniontown, we'd have to see. Franklin County, if this storm can hold, this would come in, but there's a decent chance that this collapses. We'll have to watch, but we're good for the next couple of hours. We're good for the next couple of hours in Johnson County, too. It'd be this one to watch eventually, unless something else pops up, but for now, we're good. Sequoia County, we're the ones next, but no new warning has been issued on this storm. A lot of lightning, though. It is loud there across Cherokee County. Western portions of Sequoia County hit harder with that heavier rain. You go east of Salisaw, we're just kind of getting the scraps, some isolated showers, maybe a stray rumble of thunder. LaFleur County, the storm is weakening. We may get some scraps here soon, but so far, just maybe some scattered rain is possible around Poto, Pecola, even Cameron and Shady Point, Panama, Lake Wister. We'll see. Sebastian County, we're kind of in between these two. If you track these to the southeast, we're kind of getting avoided, but for now, we're good. Logan County, we're good for the next couple of hours. Nothing coming at us for a while. Scott County, we're also good for the next couple of hours because the storm motion will change a little bit. The storms will evolve a little bit as well. I want to show you what it looks like outside in Bentonville. This is south of the home office. You're starting to see some extra scud clouds there on the edge of the storm. The heaviest rain is staying west of downtown. You see that heavy rain, how it gets a little bit hazier when you're trying to look at that horizon, especially here. Notice how the horizon kind of disappears just a little bit. That's heavy rain coming into Centerton right now. This is a live look in downtown Bentonville. Don't see a lot with the trees. Not a lot of outflow here on the northeast side, a little bit more of the wind on the south side of the storm. That heads towards X and A. And a live look in Springdale, you're watching big old downpour right now as you look north and west there from Sunset Avenue. This is from a Holiday Inn cam. You're looking over Highway 412. You're looking at that storm towards X and A and Heifel and even Centerton. Centerton's about here. Heifel would be about here. Airport would be about here too. Decatur, Gravette, Gentry off there towards the distance as well. Good downpour for us. But Springdale, we could get this leftover storm as it comes in. All right, coming in from National Weather Service. The warning has now been expired here on the cell for Benton County. So right now, it's just a lot of heavy rain and lightning. You're looking at the winds. The winds have calmed down quite a bit. We may still have about 40-mile-per-hour gusts, which that's still breezy, but you don't get as much damage typically with 40-mile-per-hour gusts. We've had some stronger storms the past couple of days, especially remember last week we've had some scatter storms. So these are not going to be as strong anymore. The cell coming into Sequoia County is not getting a severe thunderstorm warning for now as it gets closer to Lake Tenkiller, but there is still some wind. Looking at the wind core on this, let's see, get a quick update for you guys. Registering about, I look right here in this kind of bright spot, maybe 55-mile-per-hour wind. So we're close to severe, but this wind is headed right towards the dam. I tell you what, we got a couple sailboats on Lake Tenkiller out. They're about to catch some wind here in just a moment. Wind coming in big time to Lake Tenkiller, especially the south end of the lake. Close to the dam, we could be getting some of that wind. There's wind headed towards Evening Shade, Vian, Weber's Falls. I think the core of the wind will probably stay just west of Salisaw, but there's generally about 30-mile-per-hour winds, which is breezy, nothing crazy, generally in this whole green blob. But this little pocket right here could have maybe 50 to 55-mile-per-hour winds. Warning has now been canceled early from the National Weather Service. That was going to run till 3 o'clock. They've decided to cancel it because we're not hitting that threshold for severe, which is 58. But this storm does definitely weaken. We had some 60, 65 earlier, so generally we keep weakening, but there's still here the leftover core coming into Sequoia County. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you just kind of a wide view really quick. Watch out for some scattered storms on and off. What we try to do with our severe weather coverage is when there are severe storms that are issued, we hop on, give you updates. Sometimes if it's a really nasty storm headed to a big population center, then we may show a couple scans here on a live stream, but it's not usually severe. We may do that, but we generally track the severe storms. Severe storms have now been canceled. We're still watching some lightning, some heavy rain come in, but just scattered showers and thunderstorms, one of those where you guys got to watch. For the next couple of hours. We're going to be watching more storms off towards the north, but if we can get more cells developed here, you're watching a little bit of activity trying to form. It's a little bit cooler now because of the clouds, but if these storms can get going, we're going to have more repeated storms throughout the evening, so we'll track those. We're going to get ready for some of our newscasts. We've got a newscast coming up at 4, so we've got to get a couple things ready. I know it's still an hour and a half early, but we've got to get a couple things ready for that. We will hop on, give you more coverage if the storms get nastier, if they get larger, if they start producing more hail. But that was one of the threats that we had, and just really quick, I want to show you that hail. Notice how we have the 2 hail cores. They're also going away. Generally, rain and rumbles of thunder if you get hit by the storms. Washington County, we'd be next. Parts of Southwest Rogers, Cave Springs, watch out for some rain. Springdale, Taneytown, watch out for some rain. And watch out for some more rain across Sequoia County. But these storms actively are weakening. We'll hop back on if they start to recharge and start to build up their strength once again. Make sure you keep it here. Keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.